So now we're going to begin with the actual kettlebell juggling flip mechanics. With kettlebell juggling, it's all in how you release the kettlebell with your hands and then catch it with the hands after that's done. In order to do this, you're learning how to control and get the kettlebell to go exactly where you want it to go. We're going to start with the two hands flip. And even before that, key couple drills you can do that get you to understand these mechanics. So the kettlebell has the mass of the weight in the ball, and then there's the handle. If you just swing it and release, you'll notice it automatically flips because it has more weight that way. With the trajectory it's going to automatically go like that. So we were covering the release and letting it float a little in the alternating kettlebell swings where you're switching hands. In order to get it to float like that, you actually have to apply a little pressure in order to get the kettlebell not to flip at all, because that's its natural inclination. So in order to do that, you are applying a little pressure on the handle up with the thumbs to keep it there, because the natural thing wants to go like this. So to counteract that, we just apply a tiny bit of pressure with the thumbs to get it to float. And you may notice it still went slightly one way or other. That's all in the amount of pressure that you use with this movement. So just practice letting go, letting it float. Bring the hands back. You can keep them nearby. You don't need to drop them to your sides or anything as you do. You don't need to do anything like that. But you keep your hands as close by as possible when you're doing this movement. So slight upward pressure with the thumbs keeps the handle just about level so you can grab it right where it is. So that's actually stopping the rotation. If we allow it to normally rotate, then the kettlebell is going to do something like that. But you'll also notice that the kettlebell is going away from us. When you're doing a swing, you can actually project it out far. You can also project it high. If the kettlebell gets away from us and then we catch it, it can put us in a bad back position. Despite everything, you don't want to repeatedly have to do this and be reaching out for the kettlebell. If it gets away from you, let it go. Don't try to save it. But what we're doing to keep it in line so that we don't need to reach out is we don't swing completely extended. But at the top of the movements, we keep a little bend in the elbows. Actually bend it on the way coming up. So the kettlebell comes up and down straight. So it's like this. You can think of sort of an elevator. It's just floating right here. And even when we're doing the flips, it's all in this range, so it's right within reach. We don't let it get too far out. And we definitely don't want it going further out as it's going. So with this little bend, just allowing its natural rotation, its natural rotation is actually a little slow. So what we want to do for this flip is to speed it up. A slight downward press on the handle and it will go. You don't want to do too much because then it will flip too fast, and if you don't have the coordination yet, you won't be able to catch it. It's just a slight downward press and the hands are right there to catch it. Once again, you're not removing the hands far. You actually want to just keep them right there. The less space there is between the kettlebell where it's released and where you're going to end up catching it, the better off we are. So you'll notice my hands actually move up a little bit in order to meet the kettlebell. Release here, come up and around where the handle's going to be, and I'm able to grasp it right like that. So this is the two hands flip. Little downward pressure, grab the handle at the top. Now something that people do often with this is they then try to grab it by the horns. You want to avoid that because you're in no position to swing here. So they sort of lose track, panic, and move their hands out. Just think, release here, keep your hands even touching on this, and they come up. Now, naturally my hands come apart slightly to do it, but if you're having this problem, keep the hands touching. So you're gonna have to back away a little bit, then come forward. Here's some from the front. So it's a really simple, basic move with that double flip. So now that we've worked with two hands, we move on to one. Most kettlebell juggling is done with a single hand, just on those flips when you're first doing it, and the double flips we'll get to later. You work with the two hands at once. After that though, you're pretty much clear to move on to just one hand. So here, we're just applying the swing once again. Make sure you have those basics, and then we're gonna do the natural flip. And here we are catching with the same hand. So remember, key points. You're not allowing it to go out, so you keep a little bend in the elbow to keep it floating right here. Here you're using the natural rotation and a little more, throwing the handle out below, coming to meet it up high, and then grabbing it. And truthfully, this releasing and catching with the same hand is actually a little harder because you have to then move it. But if you release and catch with the opposite hand, that hand can already be waiting, and it's even easier to do. So you see here, I'm even like reaching over to meet it quicker. I can actually almost wrap my hand around, so it's released here. I'm not even letting it get the full flip before my hand's there to meet it. Sure, I can let it float more and then grab it, but I want to keep as little space as possible between the release and the catch. So I know where the handle's going to go, and my hand's going right there to meet it. So work with this alternating hands flip, and then work the same hand. Now, you may have seen it there, the kettlebell handle could spin off a little bit. That's because you're either applying too much pressure with the thumb side or with the pinky side. If I apply pressure down like this, you'll see it spins. If I apply pressure with the thumb side, it spins the other way. And then when it's doing that corkscrew movement, it becomes very hard to catch. So what you want to do as you're applying this pressure is apply evenly with the hand. So you want this pressure straight down with the full hand. That keeps the handle level as it comes around. Now, depending on where you grab the handle, if it's more over on this side or if it's over here, this will change it as well, and you'll have to change your pressure. If you get right in the middle and then apply even pressure, it's easy to do. If you're to more side, you're actually going to have to counterbalance slightly. This all comes in time with practice, but realize how the kettlebell flips is all in how you let go with it. So we're trying to apply the even pressure with the right amount of force to get it to rotate around at the speed we want and with the exact angle we want.